Hey, here you
Hey,
are. Nice to see you, man.
good to see you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm
Of
really
course.
excited.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun. So, dude, I've been following you for a while. I think the first time I saw you was on Sentient,
Yeah, yeah.
and I was like, they're hiring a 5-year-old to teach
I
classes.
know. Yeah.
Oh man, you're still so young. How old are you now?
Turning 27 at the end of the month,
Yeah,
so
man, it's
yeah.
that's awesome. You're doing some insane work. I
Thanks.
was going through it to put together the whole
Yeah.
podcast, and I don't know if I've seen your work obviously on Instagram. I just said I've known you for some time, but I haven't looked at
Mhm.
so much work consecutively of yours. And one
Yeah.
thing that you've got across all your work is this gestural, loose
Mm.
sort of I don't know, this fluid serpentine sort of mark
Mm.
making that's just really, really beautiful.
Yeah. I think that's something I've always enjoyed painting, especially subjects that bring that kind of brushwork out and lend themselves towards that, especially like snow-covered scenes, stuff like that is just I love doing that because it's you can just find all these connecting shapes and it's always a
Yeah.
blast to paint.
Yeah, a lot of people, myself included, when I do it,
Hmm.
I shouldn't speak for other people, but when I do it, I'm like, is it finished? But when you do it, it's like, oh, don't do another thing,
Yeah.
you know?
Sometimes it's finished for me. Sometimes I I can get a little sloppy sometimes. That's a weakness, but
Do you sometimes, so that you're on the opposite extreme then.
Mhm.
You're the guy who doesn't finish them and goes back and then later regrets it and is sort of like,
Yeah,
oh,
I've
I
had
could have
that a
pushed it a
lot
little further.
actually, but it's a balance, I'd say. It's sometimes there's a magical quality to something that's a little unfinished. Like
Yeah.
Soroya's travel sketches come to mind, the little like 3 by 4 inch plein air.
Yeah.
Those are
I don't know if
really
I've seen
special.
those.
Oh, I missed the show. There was a show in Rome where they debuted all of them, but they had a few of his at his house, the Soroya house, and
Really?
they're little gems. They're just so quick and impressionistic, but they really capture the moment.
Is he one of your idols? One of the people
Mm.
that inspires how you paint?
Yeah, probably like top three.
Who would
Um,
be the other two?
I think Abbott, Henderson, Thayer would be
Hmm.
one. Um, Maybe Whistler now,
Whistler,
and
really?
Soroya. Yeah,
Why do you say
I'm
now?
really. I think I started seeing a lot more of their work when I've been going to DC at the museums, and something about his work has just lately really been drawing me. Like Thayer and Whistler,
I could
it's
see
much
Thayer.
moodier.
I don't see
Yeah,
the influence of Thayer or of Whistler yet. But I mean, I guess you're saying
yeah.
that's a newer one, a newer influence.
Hmm. Yeah, and definitely a newer one. I think just the moody quality to the work, and also they have a very clear artistic vision
Hmm.
where they're not afraid to really just completely show that and make weird choices and do things that are unorthodox. So, yeah.
What about living artists?
Living artists,
Are there any that influence your way of painting?
I'd say definitely Kwang Ho and Daniel Keys, since I studied with them a lot. Their
Oh, you did, really?
influence, yeah,
Wait,
yeah,
which
their
one? Kwang
influence,
Ho or both?
both, yeah, both.
Really? I didn't know that. I kind of
Yeah.
figured Daniel Keys. I can see the Daniel Keys
Hmm.
influence. But I guess I can see Kwang Ho too. There were a few pieces I actually thought that. I'm like, I can see that Kwang Ho in there.
Yeah.
So how did
Yeah,
you
they're both
study with them?
both
Through
amazing. Well,
workshops
with
or?
Kwang it was through a workshop, and well, Daniel was through a workshop as well. But he has this really cool program called the Palette Project, where they pay for everything for students. It's like a scholarship you can get, and it's hosted at Scottsdale Artist Workshop.
Mm-hmm.
And I applied to that, and I remember thinking like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna get it, and I was just so nervous. And my parents were so encouraging, but I applied to that and then got accepted. I went to that, and that's how I met a lot of other young artists like Kyle Ma and Stephanie Page Thompson. and a few others, Catherine Martinez, and
Oh,
yeah,
they
so
were
we had
all in the same group as you.
we were in it was a really solid year there.
Seriously.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So
And you know I've had Kyle and Stephanie on the program,
yeah,
right?
yeah, it's so cool.
That's funny. You guys were all in the same palette project.
Hmm.
Wow. So how does that work? Is that just like a week long thing or is longer?
It's a 3-day workshop where they do floral and portrait from life. And they usually get guest instructors like Richie Carter was there. I think Tim Reese.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've had a ton of artists do guest instruction there. So that's really generous of them.
So when you say you studied with Daniel Keys, you're just
Hmm.
talking about a week? Just for a week.
I think I did it 3 years. I don't know if it was
So 9
consecutively.
days total.
And yeah, 9 to 10 days, I guess. And then also watching just a lot of his demos online. And
Yeah.
yeah. And of course, Alla Prima by Richard Schmid was a huge
I
influence
wondered
too.
about
So
that.
there's a lot
Yeah.
of overlapping teaching, I guess you could say.
Right, right. That's really cool that you credit them with such little influence. I mean, 9 days is not a lot.
Yeah.
And that's really cool that you give them credit for the influence.
Hmm.
So what about Kwang Ho? How much time did you spend with him?
I think it was a 3-day workshop, and then also watching some of his demos at Portrait Society and
Mm-hmm.
online videos and listening to podcasts. I've also learned a lot just listening to artists on podcasts,
Mm-hmm.
like like this podcast. It's kind of crazy, surreal to be here now.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just learning about the philosophy, kind of the intention behind the work, that can also help a ton.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, I've learned a ton from this podcast, but I'm
Mhm.
lucky because I get to ask the questions.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's amazing. So have you always been into it? Is it this like something you've been doing since you were a kid?
I think I kind of sketched and doodled as a kid, kind of in my early teens, and I started doing a lot of graphic design because my dad had his own business for a bit. So I kind of took on the role and made some illustrations or like logos, stuff like that, and got into graphic design for a few years pretty seriously.
At what age?
I think 14 or 15
Okay.
at
How
that
does a
point.
four So just with your dad, but you took it really
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah, because I started doing like spec work and online logo contests, and at first it was really bad. I mean, looking back, it's pretty painful to look at some of my old designs.
Dude,
But
logos are hard
I,
to
yeah,
design.
I got pretty decent. And I think that probably would have been one of my other career path options. But I think at a certain point, I kind of picked up art a few years into that, and it was happening at the same time. And then I realized I just preferred art in a lot of ways because you don't have to deal with clients. Well, I guess you have clients in certain ways, but not in the sense
They're
of,
not running the
yeah,
show.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you mean you picked up art?
Well, I think my parents I have to credit them for a lot of stuff because they really encouraged me for everything and, encouraged me to take lessons with local artists here and
Where's here?
enter art show. Woodland Park, Colorado. It's near Colorado Springs. It's a little north of there. I don't
Okay.
know if you've ever visited, but
Mm-mm.
it's a beautiful location. But yeah, they really encouraged me to take it more seriously and put myself out there because I tend to be very shy and reserved. And yeah, they've helped me a lot. So just got into art and started taking lessons. And I think a lot of it was my teacher, Ken Shanika. He was a local oil painter, landscape painter here. He would bring in these stacks of like Southwest Art, Western Art Collector, all those kind of magazines. And I just look through the pages and find all these artists. And I remember that's how I originally found out about Daniel Keys and kind of read his story, his bio, really connected with his work, and then found Richard Schmid through that. So it's kind of like a snowball effect, I guess, or domino, where he introduced me to a few avenues and then kind of took it from there. And everybody was so welcoming. Every time I met artists or took workshops, they were so helpful.
But that's it. Just a few workshops and
Hmm.
books and internet. That's
Yep.
all of your training.
Hmm.
That's crazy, dude. That's quite amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what about drawing? How did you learn how to draw?
Um, I guess I mean, I would do like colored pencil portraits maybe around 15, 16. And I think I just kind of jumped into painting and I really started connecting more with almost the sculptural mindset of really pushing like volume and form with paint and sculpting into shapes. And drawing still is something I really struggle with. If you just give me some like a pencil and tell me to draw a portrait or something, it can be a little rough sometimes because I think I really just connect well with the medium of oil paint and being able to
Surprises
sculpt.
me because you seem so precise. Okay, I'm gonna be premature here a little bit and pull up some of your work, but
Mm.
I'm looking at this piece here, for example.
Hmm.
Dude, you got to be able to draw pretty well
Yeah.
to set this stuff, to get the proportions of this, get your ellipses really solid.
Oh
It's
yeah, ellipses are
they're brutal,
complete
right?
death of me
Yeah,
sometimes.
and especially with something like this teapot where you have a stacks of ellipses that all have
Yeah,
to work, and you do it in
those are painful.
they are, but you pull it off pretty well. So not pretty well,
Yeah,
really well.
yeah.
So so you do draw well. So is it the
Mhm.
medium? Is it proportion that you think you struggle with when you, or is it
I
just you
think
don't
it's
like the dry
linear.
media?
I think it's the idea of almost like linear drawing. I don't know
Okay.
if I'm using that term correctly, but very precise, kind of finding boundaries of shapes and taking a very long time to measure and find like straight lines instead of curves, stuff like that. I think that it just feels so unnatural to me when I'm doing it. But I'm sure if I, spent a
Oh,
few
you'd
years
get
drawing,
great at it. Yeah.
I could work on it. But
Huh. That's wild to me. Yeah, amazing. I'm just sorry. I'm looking off to the right because I'm still looking at your
okay.
painting while you're having a podcast by yourself. I'm just staring here at your painting. Yeah, because I mean, yeah, I'm looking at your stuff and you clearly know how to draw. So when you were being taught how to paint,
Hmm.
I mean, all right, let me put it this way. So are you going to Porch Society this year, by the way?
I don't know if I'll be able to make it this year. We'll
Okay.
see.
Well, I hope to be able, if you do, it'd be great to see you.
Yeah.
But as you know, at the Porch Society, well, maybe you don't know this. I will tell you my
Mhm.
experience. So at the Porch Society, every now and then they'll have, not every now and then, every year, they have this thing where they invite a bunch of the faculty to one of the rooms and they have a
Mm.
portfolio critique.
Oh yeah, I did I was on faculty, I guess,
Yeah.
because I did a small demo with that future generation demo.
Okay, great. So you're familiar with the portfolio critique though, right?
Yeah, I helped run it one that year I was
Okay.
there.
So you may be familiar with this, but my experience, and I've talked to a bunch of other artists, is always the same thing. People come to me with their paintings, painting after painting after painting,
Yeah.
and they want to know, they want a critique about how they paint. I can't give them a critique about how they paint because nine
Yeah.
times out of 10, no, 99 times out of
And
100,
it's
it's the
the
drawing that's the
drawing.
problem. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm I'm really, I don't know what the word is. I'm really sort of shocked at how well you put a painting together without having any drawing training whatsoever. So my question is, when you took your first workshops, what was your first
Hmm.
workshop?
First workshop, let me think. Uh,
Your first
I
training
think
period. What was your first training?
my first training was with my teacher Ken Shanika here, and it was like a weekly teen class. And he would just have us paint landscapes after his landscapes because
That's
he knew
it.
that
So you
method pretty
never
well.
learned how to draw the figure, portrait, still life.
No, he did introduce some still life things,
Hmm.
but yeah, it was more of his method, but just also having us try different mediums. And then I think one of my first workshops was with Clayton Beck. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him.
Mm-mm.
He's a Chicago artist. I think he helps run the Palette and Chisel,
Okay.
but he's kind of in that Schmid lineage. So I think that was one of my first serious ones. And
Okay.
I struggled a lot with drawing, looking back at a lot of the paintings. I think that's something that I've just had to kind of like laser focus in on and always remind myself to double check and use mirrors, things like that to just try and get accuracy when I can.
But what was in this when you were first learning how to apply drawing to painting? Forget about the linear thing, but when I say drawing, I mean understanding proportion and
Yeah.
value. What was the approach that you either learned directly or pulled out of your early education in how to establish proportions and value? Were you,
I
for
I
example,
think it's
did you
shape
learn the
based.
no-tan method where you just break it down to a light and dark pattern, or was it something else?
I think it's shapes of value or shapes of color, that kind of way of seeing the world where you flatten things out almost, and you're thinking of it in terms of just what's this value in color and what shape does it make. I think that's kind of the mindset I started in, and that's helped me a lot. But there's definitely limitations to that, so that's something I'm trying to learn about other types of drawing and other methods as well.
Yeah. Like what? What kind of things are you experimenting with now?
I think constructive and more, what's the word? Um, I guess kind of constructive drawing where you're almost reconstructing things and you're thinking about perspective and you're thinking about what makes up an object more than just the abstract flat shapes that you see.
So
Yeah,
thinking
kind of
about
like,
stacking those
yeah.
ellipses and center
Yeah, kind
lines
of
and
like conceptual thinking versus optical,
yeah.
where you're taking into account the material of the object, you're taking into account just what it's built out of, like if it's ellipse based or if it's more of like a rectangle and how it might, perspective would affect us, stuff like that.
Hmm. Hmm. So are you literally studying linear perspective?
A little bit, yeah. I've tried to get some of those. Is it Scott Robertson? Or I'm trying to think of the book. It's a kind of like a concept art
Yeah,
perspective
I
book.
can't remember his name either, but I
Um,
know the one you're talking about. It's
yeah,
insane.
it's
Well,
pretty
okay, we
heavy.
should
I
hold on.
was trying
Let me
to,
run it by you. I'm gonna grab it and tell me
yeah,
if it's the one you're thinking.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, this is it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
This is the one. Scott
Yeah.
Robertson.
Yeah.
Yeah, this dude
That's
is
if you ever want a
freaking
crash course
brilliant.
in perspective,
Yeah.
it's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah,
Like
this
there
dude
was
is off the
Yeah,
charts.
I think
Holy
there was
cow.
one thing I had joked with some friends because I felt like I was just going crazy learning this. I was like, how does this work? Like the major and minor axis of an ellipse. And
Hmm.
I was like overlaying images in Photoshop. So I'm like, this can't be right. And I would overlay it over wheel and perspective and it would line up. And I'm like, this doesn't seem right. Like
I know.
how an ellipse tilts with perspective, things like that. Especially, I've encountered a ton of that lately going to Italy and painting arches, things like that. You get all those minor and major acts. You have to make sure things like that are lined up in perspective. And once you see it, it's hard to unsee it, which is nice.
Yeah, the
Just
other
getting,
mystery that well, it's not so much of a mystery anymore, but the
Mhm.
thing that I found so strange about ellipses is if
Yeah.
you put an ellipse in a box and the box is in perspective, the back half of
Mhm.
the box is obviously receding into space,
Yeah.
making the back half's volume significantly smaller than the front half's
Yeah.
volume, right? But you stick an
Mhm.
ellipse in there and it's
It's,
completely
yeah.
symmetrical.
It's symmetrical. It's so weird.
I know, it's like
I don't know how nature did. Yeah.
I know it's weird. I won't get into it, but I sort of figured out the logic behind it at some point
Yeah.
because as a teacher, students are always asking stuff like that. Well, shouldn't the ellipse be smaller in the back somehow? I'm
Yeah.
like, no, it shouldn't.
Yeah.
And at some point I had to sort of figure out why that is, but it's
Hmm.
just a weird phenomenon how it does that. It's bizarre.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
so funny. Ellipses are like one of the common things that you could bring up with any artist and they'll just go on
I
this
know.
long rant about
I know.
ellipses.
And I always tell my
Yeah.
students, I'm like, even if the ellipse is wrong on the vase, don't make it wrong because some artist is going to walk up to your painting and be like, that ellipse sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's you're never gonna. You got to remember somebody's going to be looking at that painting, picking on your ellipses. So get them
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been guilty of that. Sometimes I'll look back at a painting. I'm like, I see like just a little bit of a tilt in the
Oh, it's
ellipse and
so
it drives me
tough.
crazy.
Yeah, it's so tough, man. Well, so okay, so you took these few workshops from these
Yeah.
guys. How
Hmm.
did you self critique from that point on? Because that's not a lot of exposure. And
Yeah, I
what?
think.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, let me just finish my
Yeah.
thought on that. So every now and then I'll have a student drop out
Hmm.
because they get really confident and they say, "Okay, I'm going to do this on my own now. I think I can teach myself."
Hmm.
And not always, but oftentimes their progress just halts. I'll see them 10 years
Hmm.
later, and they were growing, 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 and they're stuck at the point where they left. They're just
Hmm.
stuck. And the
Hmm.
reason why is because for that particular student, they no longer had they no longer had someone to tell them what they were doing wrong. So they kept practicing mistakes years after leaving,
Oh, yeah.
right? But then every now and then you meet someone like you.
Hmm.
Stephanie was the same way, Kyle's the same way. You're all sort of
Yeah.
self-taught. I mean, you have teachers, but so minimal.
Hmm.
And I'm always interested in how
Hmm.
students like yourself self-critiqued. How did you know you weren't practicing your mistakes through that time where you were learning?
Well, I think a lot of the things I learned that were really helpful from someone like Daniel Keys or Kwong are kind of ways to, it's almost like a mental checklist that you ingrain so deep that it just runs on autopilot. Like you're
Okay.
constantly asking yourself, is this taller? Is this wider? Is this short? Like kind of like simple yes, no answers. Is this warmer? Is this cooler? Is this lighter? Is this darker? And just kind of always running through those checklists and then stepping back and making sure to take lots of breaks, using mirrors, things like that can
Mm-hmm.
help you kind of break from your subjective view, I guess, or you almost, your eyes get really comfortable seeing something. So using a mirror has helped me a ton to correct drawing mistakes or value. But there's certainly a lot of bad habits, I guess, that sometimes I didn't realize I had. And I'm trying now to go back and fix a lot of these things. Like, I think one thing that really stuck out that I didn't notice for the longest time was kind of uncontrolled hierarchy in a lot of senses. Like, I guess like edge hierarchy, value hierarchy, color, all these things. I sometimes I would just put accents everywhere, and that's one weakness I found in a lot of my work. Just uncontrolled accents or sharp edges everywhere. And I think one artist that really made me aware of that is Devin Corwin, who's a concept artist and kind of an online educator. I did a mentorship with him, Kyle and Chelsea Lang were other artists that it was kind of like a group mentorship session,
Mm-hmm.
and he was talking about, I guess, what it takes to be able to paint from imagination as a concept artist and all these principles that we could maybe take to traditional art. And he was looking at some of my paintings, and right off the bat, he noticed that it was a lot of uncontrolled contrast in my work. So I think that's something I've been trying to rein in a bit over the last year or two.
Could you tell me a little bit more about that? So
Hmm.
let me restate and tell me if I'm understanding correctly.
Yeah.
So you were in the habit of not choosing a clear focal point and just
Hmm.
getting carried away, drawing attention to all parts of the painting by putting
Yeah,
hard
almost.
edges and
I
accents
think
and stuff.
I have an example. There's one painting that comes to mind. It's similar to this one over here.
Yeah.
And I did it maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And I think I almost painted in every branch with a sharp edge instead of recreating the visual effect where you're looking at an area and there's kind of a softer field of view in the corners, and you kind of keep in mind a value and edge hierarchy. And in that painting, I was just putting sharp edges everywhere, painting all these branches. And I
Every
still
last
really
little
love,
branch.
yeah,
Okay.
or maybe not every last little branch, but you could tell I was just putting in sharp edges
Mm-hmm.
very in an uncontrolled way. And I think that really opened my eyes because then I was looking back at a lot of my work with a more critical eye towards that specific thing. And I've been trying to improve that.
So you took another workshop. That's one way you got another critical eye. You actually did get another
Yeah,
critical
I
eye.
think, and that's something I really want to start kind of getting back into some workshops and just getting someone separate and not in my friend group, someone that has more of an objective viewpoint and can really be open. And that's why I think it was really helpful, especially with that artist, Devin Corwin, because since he's from a completely different field, he really had no like attachment. He was just looking at it strictly as an image. And especially, I think a lot of concept artists are just very good at what they do, extremely good, because they have tight deadlines and they have to be able to juggle a lot of things.
What inspired going to a concept artist of all people?
I think I'm trying to think how we even got connected. I'm pretty sure Chelsea Lang, who's in my friend group, I think she floated the idea because she had seen his work, and I was like, I looked at his work, I'm like, yeah, I want to do this because he knows what he's doing. He's super super high level, and he has some really great educational ebooks out that I recommend to everyone because they cover almost everything for making a successful painting, kind of like everything that goes into it, like value, color, composition, drawing, all that, material properties, how light works.
So to
Yeah.
find something like that, we just go to his website.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
he sells it. And
Yeah.
I think he has an online art academy now where it's a lot of concept artists that he hosts.
Yeah. And concept art has blown my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to work for a video game company, and I mean, it was only a
Oh,
couple,
I didn't know this.
yeah, well, it was only a couple months, and it was when
Okay.
actually, it was when I was about your age. I was about, I think,
Oh,
27-ish.
that's awesome.
Yeah. And man, I was blown away. I mean, these guys could draw anything.
I know.
It was
It's so cool.
crazy. But it was
Yeah.
also interesting because they would do a model session every one night a week, right? And
Yeah.
then in the model session, I would clean up. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because I'm trained and practiced at drawing from observation. They were trained and practiced from drawing from their imagination.
Yeah.
So when they were drawing from imagination, I couldn't hold a candle to them. I was like, how do you do that? But then you put them in front of a
Yeah.
model, and it would be interesting because they would sort of like turn an ordinary woman into a superhero.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? It
exactly.
was just
That's I think one of the things that drew me to Devin Corwin specifically was
yeah.
he did imaginative stuff, but he also had this really high level focus on painting observationally as well
That's
and kind of
amazing.
building the two. Because I think he said one of the ways he really improved himself is like he'd just every day do a digital painting from life, and he would have like an Asaro head or something and just paint it under different lighting every day, work on materials from life, things like that. And yeah, his stuff
I got
is
to look
amazing.
him up. That's amazing
Yeah.
to be that well-rounded. Jeez. So tell me about your professional career. How has that gone? How did it evolve out of just a few workshops into selling paintings and, you know,
Yeah,
ending
I
up known?
think I'm trying to think how everything was structured because I know I did a lot of landscape painting and I got some opportunities through that. I was an artist in the Coors show for a couple of years. I
Wait,
think
say that
that's
again. The what show?
the Coors show here in
Core?
Colorado. It's like,
How do you
yeah,
spell
like
that?
the Coors, like the beer.
Oh, Coors.
It's yeah.
Okay, okay.
So that was pretty cool. Just got connected with some nice galleries through other artists. A lot of people just gave me so many opportunities that I almost couldn't fail in a way. Like all I had to do is just take the opportunities and run with it. So yeah, I just kind of have to credit all my artist friends and connections to help me out.
Yeah, but isn't it true though that if your work wasn't up to par, I know this might come off as a pretentious answer if you say it, but I mean, be realistic. Those opportunities wouldn't have come if you didn't paint the way you paint.
I've been doing Jeff's online mentorship program for about a year now, and it is awesome. Everything is online, super streamlined. If you can be there, I mean, you have the ability to talk to him once a week and he can review your work and help you. If you can't be there, it's pre-recorded. You can go back and even re-watch things if you missed something during class or couldn't be there. So the online portion of it is almost better than real life because you can always go back to it, which is awesome. The demos are recorded. It's just like all available whenever you need it. And I'm a stay-at-home mom of 4 and my time is limited and it's also very interrupted. And so to be able to go back has been clutch for me. And you get to work with Jeff HEIN, who's awesome. He's tough. The assignments are simple, but difficult, and they're difficult to make us all better. And he's able to give us these assignments, coach us through it, help us stay excited to progress. And so it's just been a great experience. I am so grateful that he has been willing to take time away from his own art to offer all of us to have it. So if you're thinking about doing it, it's amazing.
To learn more about how you could have me as a personal mentor, check out the link to HEINatelier.com in the show notes or video description.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I think being able to paint at a higher level helped me make these connections. But I also think it's not always necessarily how good of a painter you are. It's if you're a very likable person and you make good connections and you're, I think you can just rely on friends and others,
Yeah.
and you can get pretty far building out a network of friends, I think. And I've been very lucky in that aspect.
When you say friends, are you talking about this friend group that are all your age, the Stephanie and Kyle
Yeah.
and so on?
I
So
think,
are they just
yeah,
a little ahead of you in their careers and have sort of helped you
I think
because of that? Or
they were ahead of me technically and in their careers. So just watching them, asking questions, just being around them really elevated my own painting. I think it's like, what's that one saying, like you are your closest 5 friends or something? But I
Yeah.
think it's kind of like that with painters or artists. I think just having a really solid group of artist friends can really elevate your work because it keeps you inspired, it keeps you curious. Yeah, I think that was extremely helpful.
How does that friend group work? Because Stephanie lives in Indiana, correct? And then, oh no, I'm drawing a blank. Kyle, he doesn't live in Colorado either,
Texas. Does he? He's in Texas. Yeah, we
Okay,
have
so how are you communicating?
we have a Discord. Do you know Discord?
I mean, I don't use it,
Yeah,
but I
we
know
have a
it.
Discord painter group. It's been it goes through phases where we're on more often, or it's a little quieter because people are pretty busy. But I think especially during COVID, we were just kind of all stuck in our studio, so we'd hang out online. And another
What is
artist
that?
in
What
that.
does that look like to an old dude? I don't get it. You
It's
just have your monitors open. You're on sort of a Zoom type of thing, or
Yeah,
what?
it's kind of like a Zoom that you can join. There's like a chat room that's always open, and you can just join it and join a video call or audio and just hang out.
So you
And
just
there's
watch each other while you're painting in your
Yeah,
private
it's
studios.
like a kind of like a studio space where we can just hop in and talk while we're painting.
Huh.
And there's like different text channels where we can, if we want to share art, or if we want to ask for critique, or if we want to share inspiration, stuff like that. There's just a bunch of different channels.
Really? Do you have a camera on your painting when you're doing these Discord
Yeah,
chats?
sometimes we'll do that.
Huh.
Sometimes it's just voice and we just talk. But yeah, another artist that's in that group is Kylan Q. I don't know if you are familiar with his work.
Kylan?
Kai.
Oh,
Kai.
Kai. I
Yeah.
think I know
Kylan
Kai.
Q. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, I don't think I know Kai. I know Kai.
Yeah.
Kai does, he's sort of, he does paintings, but he also, how do you describe it? well, he does all paintings, but he paints like
Yeah.
superheroes and like Batman.
Yeah, he's been doing some like
Yeah.
superhero paintings and getting commissioned by Marvel for card art stuff. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
amazing. So
Yeah. He's something
yeah,
else.
he's a very outgoing person. So I think he
Hmm.
also helped the friend group because sometimes when you just have a bunch of us like shy, reserved artists, it can be hard to kind of get us to do things. But when
Yeah.
you have someone like that to bring the group out and kind of be like, hey guys, come on, let's all join a call and paint together. It's good.
Yeah. That's true. Well, Kyle makes you look like an extrovert.
Kyle or Kai?
Kyle, not Kai. Kai is really outgoing.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, Kyle.
Kyle Ma. Yeah. He makes you
Oh,
look like an
gotcha.
extrovert. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is really great because sometimes when I have a student who's shy, I worry about them.
Hmm.
And I think it's really hopeful that if you get good enough at painting and you can make a few connections, even if you're not an extrovert, you can
Yeah.
get yourself out there. That's really
Yeah.
hopeful.
I think, yeah, just finding a local art community can be so helpful because we can just get stuck in our own heads painting. It's really bad sometimes
Yeah.
if you have more than two paintings go bad back to back, you can get in a pretty dark headspace pretty quick. So just forcing yourself to get outside, talk to artists, talk to other people, it's just super important, I think.
Yeah, it's nice to hear you say that. Two paintings. Why do we do this? Well, I
Yeah.
often wonder why any of us are doing this because it
Yeah.
is such a tortured living.
It's so funny. It's like darkly funny where one painting going bad, you're like, oh, it's just, I had a bad day. Two going bad, you're like, you start to think, am I a fraud? Like, has everything, for some reason, like more than two paintings going bad, just it can start a spiral.
Oh yeah, seriously. Seriously. Yeah. So tell me about that? How do friends in the art world help you to get through that spiral?
I think just commiserating and just talking together, it's just very cathartic. And
They're saying we want to kill ourselves right now too. So
no,
so you're in good company.
yeah, I guess, but yeah, but also just having friends really back you up and say like, as a friend that you can trust, like you're a good painter, you're a good artist.
Yeah.
You don't have to, someone to kind of like talk you down a bit and just remind you who you are and what you've been able to accomplish and who you are as a person. And I think lately as well, I've been going to therapy and that's been really helpful with painting. I think one thing my therapist told me was all you can do is your best and your best will vary with time. And that has really stuck with me because I've always been so hard on myself if a painting doesn't go well or if I feel like it's not up to this standard that I set for myself, sometimes impossible. So just letting yourself try your best, but knowing that your best will change and being okay with that has been so helpful.
Yeah, that is a really nice sentiment.
Mhm.
And it's great that this friend group you have. How many people would you say are in this friend group? You've named about 3.
It's hard to say. The Discord has grown. It's a very large Discord, but I'd say active members are probably like 5 to 10.
Okay.
But the overall Discord, I think, has probably like 1 to 200 artists in it.
Okay. I think it's such a blessing, and you probably know this, but it's such a blessing to not have art friends, but to have art friends that are encouraging.
Yeah.
Because
That's a
it's
huge
especially at your age, because it's really competitive is not the right word. I just don't know another word. Because there's enough room for all of you and your friends to be successful. That's a
Yeah.
fact. But I remember when I was first starting out that everything felt so fragile because your whole life, my whole life, I was told you can't become an artist. It's not possible.
Yeah.
No one,
So,
everyone ends
yeah,
up
so
starving.
there's almost like that scarcity with a career where you feel
Exactly.
like there's only enough room for a certain amount of people.
Right.
Yeah.
So then I start selling paintings and I feel like, wait a minute, I'm not supposed to be even doing this. If someone else is
Yeah.
doing it, that's going to affect me, you know? And I'd like to think I didn't project that onto other people, that fear. Maybe I did. I probably
Yeah.
did. I don't know. But I do know that I had a pretty toxic relationship with an artist where they were in a studio next to mine, and I'd be painting all day, and then they'd get off of work and come in, and they'd say something like, "Dang, if I was willing to take compromises, I'd be that good too." Or if I was willing to, I mean, I can't even think of, it was always sort of these backhanded things, and it would send me spiraling, like, what? You know? And I don't even know, I wasn't taking compromises. So that was just an example. I couldn't think of an exact example,
Yeah.
but you know, I learned at that point I had to distance myself from this person because it was really, really damaging, you know? So
Yeah.
you're so fortunate, like, to have,
Extremely,
to have those people that lift you up, even though you're all, I mean, relatively speaking, compared to a 50-year-old like myself. 51 today, by the way.
Oh.
Today's my birthday.
happy
I'm
birthday.
51. Can you believe it? Anyway, compared to a 50, thank you. Compared to a 51-year-old, man, you're just starting out.
Yeah.
And yet it appears that none of you have the scarcity mindset.
Yeah, I think I'm very fortunate in that regard to have such a welcoming and encouraging friend group. And yeah, it just feels like you can always be learning. Like, for example, I was in Italy with another friend, Patrick Okrzinski. I think you've had him on the podcast.
Yeah, he's great.
And just asking questions, watching him teach was a really cool experience because he was teaching a workshop there. And he also has a really successful Patreon, and I was just asking a ton of questions because I'm hoping to launch one soon. But he was just, he shares everything with me. And it never feels like there's any like worry about me being successful, him being less successful, or vice versa. There's just, we all just know how rough it is for artists, so we're all just willing to share everything. And yeah, I love helping people out as well. Like, I've helped a lot of friends photograph artwork or with website stuff. It feels like just a way of giving back because I've been so fortunate to receive so much help along the way.
That's great that you've already got that figured out. That seriously is cool. Good for you, man. So,
Yeah, lucky.
a little bit more about that though. So tell me, what was your first gallery? How'd you get in it? And maybe a little bit about your first sales.
Yeah, I think my first gallery was Studio 8369, if I'm remembering that correctly.
That's in Colorado,
it was
right?
in
Denver?
Grand Lake, Colorado.
Yeah.
It unfortunately shut down because the owners that I know, Keith and Laura, they lost their house to a wildfire, so they ended up moving to family out of state. So that was really tragic. But they were my first gallery, and I got connected with them through, I think it was Plein Artists of Colorado. And I think right around that time, there was another gallery connection that I'm trying to think. It's hard to know exactly which one was first because it's about 6 or 7 years ago now. But there was a Jack Meyer gallery in Houston, Texas. And I got connected through them through an online, I think it was through Faso. They have Bold Brush. I think I got some award and they gave me a gallery spot for getting that award. So it was kind of like around that time, I just got a few little connections and then just kind of started from there. And
how long did it take to start to see paintings selling consistently and to feel like, oh man, I can do this?
It was probably a couple months.
That's it. That's great, man.
But yeah, I mean, galleries are really, I'm very grateful for the galleries I have and the connections, but personally, my sales really haven't bounced back. Gallery sales haven't bounced back as much after COVID because there was kind of a bubble where like everything was just selling, like stuff was just flying off the wall, and you could sell anything because people are just stuck at home buying art online. So after that, sales took a huge hit for me, and I've had some pretty good success doing hosting my own studio sales, and I learned a lot of that from Patrick because he kind of showed me a good system and a way of setting it up. So I've been kind of relying more on studio sales and direct sales lately because the gallery sales have kind of dropped off a bit. So we'll see how things level out. But I think my goals long term for business are to really build multiple revenue streams, because it's just so unstable at times to only have sales or something. Like, it would be nice to have online teaching, workshops, direct sales, and gallery sales, and maybe even more streams if I can think of things. But yeah, but yeah, gallery, I mean, it's not like I'm some like star in galleries. Like, I think, you know, I've done well with gallery sales, but I think it would be a lot less than most people might expect at times.
So are you currently in a gallery now?
Yeah, I have a few galleries.
Okay.
I'm in Broadmoor Gallery in Colorado Springs, and then Schonhorn Gallery in Crested Butte, Colorado. I think lately I've been sending a lot of work to them, and then I have a few pieces at Folly Cove Gallery in Massachusetts, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, Massachusetts. So
Yeah, I'm really curious about that selling out of your studio thing. So is that all over Instagram, all over social media?
it's a combination of, it's like I guess you could almost say it's like you cast a really wide net, and then you try and funnel everybody to a newsletter. I guess for that business model, it works well because it's kind of hit or miss with the algorithm. Sometimes you just post a lot and nobody sees anything. So trying to get a lot of people to your newsletter, which you know you can consistently reach collectors with, and then kind of structuring it with maybe like an early access for newsletter subscribers or patrons, and then opening it up after. And that's worked really well for me to do pretty successful studio sales. A lot of it is, I thought for a while, like, oh, I'm just, you know, people don't want to buy my art, but it was mainly a marketing issue where I just needed to spend more time building up to a studio sale. And then that way it, you know, more people are kind of anticipating it and there's a little more hype around it.
Do you find that there's a cap on what you can charge when people don't see the original painting?
I don't think so anymore. That's one thing that I'm noticing, and I think a buying trend that will dramatically change in the next 10 to 20 years, because my generation has been raised on buying everything online. So for us, it's just, you don't even think about it. So a lot of younger collectors now, or even older collectors, I think have gotten much more comfortable buying art online. And I also do things like providing very high res images so they can really like zoom in and see the
That's
the
nice.
texture.
Yeah.
And I spend a lot of time trying to make sure the color and the brightness of everything is as accurate as possible. So that's been really helpful. And I could grab it real quick. I worked on a really fun project. I finally made my first kind of catalog book to go with the sale. So I made this.
What? You made your own book?
Yeah, so I learned how to do some book design, and
That's
put all the
amazing.
images. So that was really fun, and that's another incentive for collectors because I provided it with a painting. So I think things like that make it really exciting for collectors.
That's smart.
Yeah.
How many do you have to order to make it worthwhile? Or is it crazy expensive just to do one book?
It was about $10 a book. I think I ordered
That's
about
it?
50. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
We live in crazy times.
I know. It's like you just click a couple buttons and a whole case of books arrives.
Were you happy with how it turned out as far as the
Yeah,
images?
some of them turned out pretty well. I had some quality issues, but I think it's things I can work out. And they were pretty generous with reprinting all the damaged books. So, yeah.
Man, that's gold. That's great advice.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. Well, let's take a look at some of your work here. We'll go back. All right. Let's get back to your homepage. or maybe we're here in your still lives. Let's start with that.
Yeah.
What is your favorite thing to paint? Because you obviously you do just
Favorite
about
thing
everything.
to paint? I think snow-covered trees are probably my favorite thing to paint.
Really? Let's
If I
start
had
with
to pick
that.
one.
So plein air, maybe
That's
landscape.
landscape. You'd find some of
See, this is what I'm
those.
talking about, man. It's so loose, but they have so
Yeah,
much atmosphere.
thank you.
Dude,
Means
they're
a lot.
great. It makes me want to go landscape painting today
Yeah, you
after we're done
should.
here.
It's fun.
All right, so here's one.
Yeah.
So, all right, look at that post. That's one freaking stroke, man.
Yeah. That
That's
was,
wild.
those are like the hit or miss paint strokes where like you kind of go for it, and if you mess it up, you're kind of screwed because it's overlapping so many things in the painting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those are a little nerve-wracking sometimes.
Jeez. So you just sit there, like get all wound up,
Yeah, and
make
it's,
sure you're just exactly in the right place and carefully make
yeah,
the mark.
drop it in.
Yeah, that's pretty sick, man. So
Yeah.
tell me about what it is that you like about snow paintings.
For me, it just because the inherent values and properties of snow, it really changes the landscape dramatically, where it makes it a much stronger design, in my opinion. When you have snow coating everything, it just brings out a very clear design and pattern. And also you get just amazing reflected light and color in the shadows. And it's one of those things where I would kill to see what Soroya would have done with snow-covered branches and like just a massive snow landscape. Like I would love to see how.
You
'Cause
never
do you know
painted
that
snow?
one? I don't think so. And
That's
do you know that
wild.
one, Mending the Sails painting Soroya
Yeah.
did?
Yeah.
Like that one, the color harmony and just the subtle color temperature shifts just blow my mind. And I would just love to see how he would handle like a sunny, snowy landscape.
Well,
It'd
he'd
be so,
obviously knock it out of the park. That's pretty obvious.
yeah.
Jeez, man. So with these paintings, if you've listened to the podcast, you probably know that I'm an aspiring landscape painter. I want to be one so bad. And I'm curious with these paintings, is one like this plein air?
This was a studio one, but
Okay.
I've done a lot of snow-covered trees plein air. I think it's one of those things where it's very valuable to paint from life, but once you learn some of those ideas, I think you can take it with you to studio painting pretty well. So just understanding the color temperature and how it affects snow, how the light kind of scatters in the snow with almost subsurface scattering quality, where it kind of shines into it and bounces around, and it takes on this glow kind of at the corners, where you might bump up the chroma at the edge of a cast shadow, stuff like that. Just being aware of those things, and then you can take it with you to studio painting.
And that's stuff that you really see. So I'm looking at these little blue strokes at the edge of the cast shadows.
Yeah.
You really see that in nature when doing a snow scene.
Yep.
But you must be exaggerating it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
exaggerating it, definitely. I think there's a lot of Soroya and Sargent paintings where they just bump up the chroma at the edge. Like if it's a white wall and there's bright light hitting it, they just bump it up just a little bit right at the edge. And it really just adds so much vibrancy to the scene.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much impact it can have when it's just the smallest amount of color. It can really
Isn't it though?
change. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is remarkable how that works. You got to wonder who the first person to notice it was.
I know.
Because I mean,
It is.
I don't think I
Yeah.
can see it because I was told it's there. Right? But I don't think I ever would have discovered it on my own.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I wonder
do
who,
you
I
think
wonder
you
if we
would
could
have?
find the first artist
I know. Who
who
saw
used
that?
that little accent of color at the edge of a shadow.
Yeah, yeah. I wish I could think of other things like that, but I feel like when I'm painting, that happens a lot. Where I'm like, who noticed this first?
Yeah.
You know, you've probably had these conversations too, but
Yeah.
I've been out with lay people meaning people that aren't into art or artists. And I remember one time I was out with this guy, and we were talking about painting. He's an accountant, and we were talking about painting, and I don't remember how it came up, but I mentioned to him how the sky right now, we're like looking at the sky and I see how the sky is like super, really rich, dark
Yeah.
blue up over your head. And then it comes down and gets more yellow and pale.
Yeah.
He's like, and this guy's like 60 years old. He goes, I have never noticed that before.
Yeah.
And so I started asking other people, and it amazes me what people don't see because they just have no reason to look that hard. You know?
Yeah, it's like we almost have this filter running as humans where we have our priorities and things just get sorted into different buckets, and a lot of visual information just becomes there and you don't really see it, or you don't notice things. It kind of just is always there. Like, oh, you just think the sky is blue. You don't look at what type of blue the sky is or how it gradates across.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. But I mean, and not to pick on people who aren't painting, the point is that I if I wasn't told to look and directed, I wouldn't notice it either.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah, I think that's one thing Kwang Ho really inspired me, just watching him paint. He has this like almost childlike curiosity and joy with painting, where he'll just look at anything and get excited about painting it, and just you can see the joy and the experimentation come through in like each brush stroke. And I remember just watching him paint, I'm like, I want to paint like that someday. Just really being observant and curious with painting.
What is it that you like about painting? Do you find that joy now? Have you seen that develop in your own work?
I've definitely felt it develop. I think it's just that experimentation and curiosity that keeps me excited about art. And honestly, I hope like 10 years from now, looking back on my work, I don't like a lot of my work, or I've completely changed at that point. Because for me, it's this kind of constant search, experimentation, and curiosity that keeps it interesting. And if I try and paint one thing the same way forever, I think I'll lose interest.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping I'll continue to develop and change interest with subject matter and how I paint things.
I can't wait to see that. So wait, you're 27. So when you're my age, I'll be like 74. God, I might be dead by then. But you know, hopefully I'll be able to
have me back on the podcast in like 20 years.
I want to see where you're at when you're my age.
Yeah, you'll have 20,000 episodes at that point.
Gosh, could you imagine if it lasted that long? That'd be pretty remarkable. Yeah, that's the goal.
Yep.
Anyway, oh my gosh, I saw this one when I was preparing. By the way, you got one of those websites that everything is a web something file?
Oh no, is it doing that?
So I couldn't get any of your images. That's okay.
If you want specific ones, I can send.
No, it's all good.
Okay.
It's all good. But that's another part of the reason I was struggling this morning a little bit. I'm like, no, his files won't open in Photoshop.
Why is it doing that? Who did that?
Yeah. Anyway, no, but I was looking through your stuff and I wanted to put this on the slideshow. And it is, dude, the way you simplified these cows is brilliant.
Yeah, this one was so fun because Kyle and I were painting together in Crested Butte, and we were just driving down the road and we're like, oh, look, some cows. So we pulled over and started painting. And then it was freezing. I think that was the coldest day. It was probably like under 20 degrees out and we were just freezing. Oh
gosh, that's dedication.
But it started warming up, and then eventually we saw this rancher come out, and he was probably in his 70s, but he was the sweetest little guy. And he was just telling us all like the entire life history about every single cow. He knew each one's name. And I think the one on the left its name was, I think it was Turkey. So that one was.
The cow's name is Turkey?
Yeah.
That's
He was
hilarious.
telling us all about Turkey. It was so funny. He was the sweetest guy.
Yeah, and you nailed it, plein air, and the cows moving around and whatnot.
Yeah, I think I tried to pick one that looked like it wasn't moving much and made it the focal point and just kind of move stuff around because, with cows, you never know. But that was fun.
About how much time do you put into a piece like this? And then also, what is the size on this?
This is 9 by 12. I think
That's pretty big.
it ranges from 1 to 2 hours usually. Sometimes if lighting's really consistent, I can get away with painting for 3 hours or even more. But I found a lot while traveling and painting, just I I prefer to paint faster and get more paintings out. And there's other artists who prefer to just slow down and develop a piece for longer. And I think it's just personal preference, but I really enjoy it. I almost get FOMO when I'm out painting because there's always something else to paint. And I have this like anxiety almost of
FOMO?
like
What's FOMO?
fear of missing out.
Oh, sorry, man. Again,
Yeah,
I'm an old
I don't
dude.
know. It's fine. But yeah, there's always something to paint, so I just want to paint fast so I can get as much done as possible.
Is it just me or the rest of you guys also get weirdly excited when you order new paint? Because I don't know about you, but when I get paint in the mail, it feels like Santa just dropped my Christmas presents off at my doorstep. With Vasari paint, my paint of choice and the podcast sponsor, it's even more exciting. And let me show you why. Because when Vasari shows up, it comes in this incredible box where each tube lays in this little compartment perfectly formed around the tube in this nice soft foam. And it's surrounded by velvet, red velvet. Now you got to ask yourself, if a paint comes so carefully protected and surrounded by red velvet, you got to wonder if this paint is worthy of royalty. It is. Vasari is. So if you haven't tried Vasari, you're seriously missing out. And the thing about Vasari, it's not only the best paint out there, it's also made by an incredible company that's been around for 30 years and knows its customer by name. Do yourself a favor, go to vasaricolors.com and order yourself some for your next painting.
So I hate this question because I hate it when people ask me. Well, I don't hate it when people ask me, but
Yeah.
it's almost become a cliche question. I guess that's why I hesitate to ask it, but I really am curious.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't think I was finished, but yet I would buy this painting from you. But if I painted it, I would be like, no, this isn't done.
Yeah.
You know, but it is done because I would literally buy this and hang it in my house. So how do you determine when it's time to walk away from a painting, especially at the level you take them to? I mean, are you just squinting to the point where your eyes are almost closed?
Yeah, I do that a ton. That's one thing I've noticed. I think Patrick pointed out to me how much I squint, and I think it affects the end image a lot. So you can almost tell when people are squinting more than if they're
Yeah,
not
because you
squinting,
squint at it, it could be photorealism or
yeah, there's a lot.
hyperrealism.
Like a
Yeah.
lot of it is just trying to compress value groups as much as possible, and simplifying information, and just trying to go for the essential big shapes. And then once you get those like correct distances between values, you can put the really subtle things, like sometimes in snow, like I think in the bottom right, there's some examples where there's just a really subtle value turn or value change. But until
Down
you get
here?
like the big, yeah, some of those like softer, just little marks. But until you get those big relationships established, if you try and go for those too early, it can really throw off your hierarchy for value.
That's remarkable. All right, let's see. Again, is this one in studio, plein air?
This one was a demo I did at a gallery.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's remarkable. Again, if you squint at it, it just feels so naturalistic.
Yeah.
That's wild. So yeah, you must be squinting all the time.
I know I'm probably gonna get some wrinkles pretty young, but
It's remarkable. Have you ever been, and I'm not trying to encourage you to, I think you're going down the direction you should be going.
yeah.
But as an artist who's always questioning myself and if I'm doing if I'm doing the thing I should be doing in this stage in my career, that's what makes me curious. Do you ever wonder what it would be like if I just really fleshed this thing and the landscape out and made it so refined? Have you
I've
ever been
I've
curious
been
about that?
experimenting with that. Yeah. I think it's always good to push yourself beyond what you think you're capable of.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing. I don't want to get stuck in this mindset of having a style or, being just a painterly, brushy painter.
Yeah.
I think there's so much like looking at some Thayer paintings, there's some crazy, like he maintains that abstract brushy quality, but then really nails certain things. So
Yeah.
there's certain aspects I definitely want to continue to explore and develop. I think, I mean, I love the like brushy, like very immediate look because it's a very appealing, I think it's universally appealing. A lot of people see stuff like this and a lot of people like it. But there's also more naturalistic painters where I don't even know how they do it. And it's always going to be interesting to me to see if I could push myself further in that direction.
Yeah.
Just where you really just hone in and you just kind of let your observational self just kick in to full gear and you just take your time, slow down and really flesh things out. So yeah, they're equally inspiring to me.
Okay, let's see what you got here. More snow. These are so remarkable. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this brings up a question. How do you balance all of this information?
I think it's a lot of it's squinting and going for the impression that I see,
Again,
which
just squinting.
yeah, I think because it's a lot of it is establishing just a clear lighting setup, I guess, and making sure the values read pretty well, and then prioritizing light or shadow and trying to manage edges. It's definitely a juggling act though, because sometimes it completely falls apart sometimes.
Yeah. Did you, by any chance, watch last week's episode, Isaac Levitan? It went up on
I haven't
Monday.
seen that
Oh,
yet.
it's
I'll
a
have
good
to
one, man.
watch
It's
it.
are you
Nice.
familiar with Micah, the art historian that comes on?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I've watched your talks with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we did a great one. I mean, I give all credit to Micah, of course, but we did a great one on Isaac Levitan.
Yeah.
And Isaac Levitan did this remarkable painting of,
Is it the birch forest?
yes.
Ah,
And
I wish I
this,
could see that in person.
well,
That
this
one,
reminds me of that.
yeah,
It's just you managed to organize the chaos in the same way that he
yeah.
did, which is remarkable. Yeah, that painting was something else, huh?
Oh, I should do a master copy of that someday.
So great. Okay, so that brings up something. Do you feel like master copies from photo reference is helpful? Because you can't get to
Ooh,
the painting. I've
I
always been
think it is.
nervous
I
about.
think it
You
is in
do?
ways
Okay.
because museums now have insane reproductions, or like you can go on. I think some of the Smithsonian websites you can go and you can download a high res image that has the colors generally accurate and you can just zoom in and see all these things and it can almost be a playground for trying to learn the technique or the way of seeing as opposed to just going for pure accuracy, I guess. You can learn a lot
Okay.
and just kind of dissect the painting in a way, like figure out how they layered things, if they're working wet over dry sometimes, because a lot of Sargent's he layered things, and a lot of people think he was just always ala
No,
prima, but
I
there's a
know.
lot of paintings where there you can just visibly see all these different layers, and trying to dissect things like that can be really helpful.
And he even glazed. I've literally stood in front of
Yeah.
a painting, portrait painting of his, had an argument with an artist about whether he was direct or not. And it was so obvious to me that he was glazing. In this particular case, it was an arm in order to turn the form and
Yeah.
maintain this vertical stroke that went from the elbow to the wrist.
Yeah.
Right? Because how do you mix that? How do you turn that arm
Yeah, yeah.
when it's a vertical stroke
Exactly.
from elbow to wrist? That would be some serious magic where you have the
Yeah.
brush half dark, half light on the brush, you know?
Yeah.
But he clearly had, to me, it's obvious he had glazed it, but some people are just like, no, Sargent did everything in one shot. I'm like, no, I don't
Yeah.
think so. Wasn't it Patrick Okrasinski that did I pronounce his name right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That he did a Sargent copy from one of those high res images of that
Yeah, he
landscape.
did the mountain pass. I'm blanking on
Yeah.
the name, but yeah, he did an amazing job
Yeah, he really
dissecting
did.
it. And
But man,
yeah,
what an image. What a digital
yeah,
image he had access to. I guess that was from one of
hmm
those museum collections, I'm assuming.
yeah. There's like the National Portrait Gallery, the National Galleries. If you check, a lot of modern galleries now have super high res images. I think sometimes it gets a little weird with the rights of the image because I don't know if certain collections let the museum put up a high res. So it's
Yeah.
hit or miss, but if you manage to find one of the high quality images, you can really see tons of information from it.
All right, so tell
And
me
that's
about.
another thing
Oh, go
I'm
ahead.
lucky. Like I can just search up any artist in history and see all their paintings. It's just
Oh,
pretty
dude,
crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
you are. You know,
So
I'm just going to put it out there. You are the luckiest generation. I
yep.
mean, there is no question. I mean, what you guys have access to that we didn't have access to 30 years ago is mind
hmm
blowing. And I'm
Yeah.
fortunate to have it too,
hmm
but not at 20. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
holy crap, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I remember when we were in college, now I'm sounding like a total old fart, but I remember taking my film to Costco
Wow.
or to wherever, some place to develop it, and then it'd come back and it'd be all orange or whatever and terrible. And
Yeah.
oh my gosh. And then digital cameras came out like a few years into my
hmm
career, but they were like 3 pixels and the screen on the back was
Yeah.
like a thumb. It was like a postage stamp.
Yeah.
It was so bad. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
crazy time. It's such a great time to be an artist right now.
hmm
So much information. Well, how big is this painting?
That was 11 by 14.
It's that big? Dude, you are loose.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I would have thought it was like, I don't know, like 5 by 8, something like that, or 6 by 8.
Mm. Yeah.
Wild, nice work. Yeah, you must be standing back a lot and squinting
Yeah. Stepping
nonstop
back
to
a
manage
ton.
that.
Yeah.
So can I ask what you charge for a painting this size?
I think it's ranges, or I
Why don't
guess
you
you
give
could
me
say
the
close to
range?
1,000.
Close to 1,000?
Yeah, sometimes a little bit more if it's framed in the gallery price, maybe a
Okay,
little bit
I
less
want to
if it's
know.
a
I'm going to
studio
get one of your
sale.
paintings, so we have to talk when
Ooh,
we get off.
yeah.
Is this one available?
No, that one's sold through a
Suck
gallery.
balls. Well, where do they live? Can we get their information?
Yeah.
That sucks. I love that one. Oh man, yeah, another great one. Well, let me pan out so I can pick my favorites here. They're all so beautiful. What the crap, dude? Look at that. Okay, so this is one of those things when I see artists like yourself that do a lot of landscape.
Yeah.
You know, another one is Josh Clare. Are you familiar with Josh Clare?
Oh, he's amazing.
Oh,
I
Josh
love
Clare
his
is
stuff.
brilliant. Such a good guy
He's
too.
brilliant. Yeah.
But he paints his backyard. He's painted his backyard like 400,000 times.
Yeah.
And he'll paint a pile of snow in his backyard, a
hmm
chunk of tumbleweed, you know, the
Yep.
mountains from every lighting situation,
hmm
whatever. I mean, and somehow he makes a composition out of everything.
Yeah.
So when you went, was this plein air studio?
Yeah, that was Plein Air.
Okay, when you went out plein air,
hmm
tell me about how you chose something like this.
I think what I do, I really enjoy after we get like a ton of snow, just kind of wandering out in the woods.
Yeah.
And then anything that catches my eye, whether it be a value pattern or a color harmony or something like that, I'll just take mental note of it and just walk around, find a few things. And I think this day I did 3 paintings back to back, but this was one where I'd seen it earlier and I was like, okay, I have to go back and paint it because it just had this
But it's not
really
even in
strong
it.
value design.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's the
Yeah,
pattern. The, the
yeah.
the hardest part for me is getting out there and being distracted by the things and
Mm,
struggling to see the pattern.
yeah.
I mean, I can see it, but it's still, abstracting it, not abstracting it visually. That I can do. Studio painters do that every day. But
Yeah.
abstracting it in a way that you can separate yourself from the subject. Because as a portrait painter, which is primarily what I do, figurative painter, the subject is really important,
Yeah.
right? You got to capture that likeness, capture their soul, their personality,
Yeah.
And as a landscape painter, what I'm trying to learn, what I think you're saying is you almost have to forget you're painting trees
Yeah.
in the
Just
snow and
going
just
for
look
that
for an abstract painting.
abstract. Yeah.
So that's the thing I'm struggling with still. How do you feel like you have any tips on how you overcame the mindset of painting things and adopted the mindset of painting abstract patterns?
I think Kwang Ho helped a lot. Just different things he'd say that really clicked with me. I think one is like almost imagining yourself for the first time opening your eyes before having any idea of what the world is, and you
Oh,
just
that's
open your eyes for
brilliant.
the first time.
Yeah.
And what you would see, like you wouldn't think of depth, you wouldn't think of perspective. Yeah, everything, it would just be this symphony of color and shape, and thinking of it in terms of that. Or another thing he told me that was really helpful is like, what would it be like if you were driving down the highway at, like 70 miles an hour and you glanced over to the side, and that's like the impression you saw,
Yeah.
and trying to just go for that. Those are all helpful. But I think it's one of those things where it's not necessarily a right or wrong if you want to have the intention of going out and painting in this way, then going for it. But you don't, it's not wrong to really study something closely and look into something. Because I think there's some Leviton paintings of just like a oak tree or something, or maybe a stump. I don't know all the paintings, but I've seen some of those tree studies where it's just a singular tree.
Yeah.
And it's just almost a character study in a tree. And he captures the bark and all, just it's just so intricate.
Well, that
and
aspen one you mentioned was that way, but it was only the one tree in the front. And then the rest were more like this here. Yeah, that's good advice. Have you ever thought about this? This is 'cause stupid. This is what small brains think about during the day. Have you ever thought about this? Animals, when they're born, most of them anyway, particularly four-legged mammals, they're born and they just get up and they walk.
Yeah.
How do they not just walk off a cliff? How do they know that a shadow represents a new plane right out of the womb?
Yeah. That's pretty amazing. I don't know how
does that
all
work?
works, but it's pretty amazing.
Because for a baby, they don't walk. And then they learn. Then they crawl, and they crawl up to an edge, and they start to understand that the shadow means that there's a plane change.
Yeah.
But if you're an animal that just came out of the womb and has never seen the world, how do you not bump into trees? Like, how do you not walk off of cliffs? How do you understand form?
Yeah.
It's just amazing to me. Anyway, total tangent.
Yeah.
But your Kwang Ho's little tip reminded me of that. It's a really great way of looking at it. Except animals already trump us in that because somehow they hadn't figured out.
Another on that tangent, Thayer had some really crazy ideas about camouflage. I don't know if you're familiar with his research into camouflage, because he pioneered a whole field of counter camouflage.
The painter.
And the Thayer, the painter, he kind of helped invent camouflage. People down the line from him invented it for the war, but he had all these crazy theories, and some of them are widely accepted now by the scientific community. And one of them is counter shading, how animals on the top are darker and lighter underneath to counteract the overhead lighting so that their form flattens out when you look at it.
What? That's brilliant. Of course.
He was into all these crazy things, and he would do cutouts of animals and find patterns in nature in their local environment that would match the animal. So he's it's so cool learning about him.
That's smart. I've heard that with fish, they have the same pattern, but it's a different theory. Because if you're a predator looking up and you see a fish's belly, it's white, so it blends in with the sun coming from above.
Yeah.
But if you're looking down, their dark upper body blends in with the darkness of the bottom of the sea. So it's strange that that you'd get the same body pattern in a fish, but for a completely different reason than you get that body pattern on, say, a tiger.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah. And it's also cool, like baby deer have, you know, the spotted patterns that look like dappled light to break up their form. Stuff like that is just, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that is
when you think
amazing.
about it. Yeah.
That's cool. All right, let's see what else you got here. Gosh, dude, another one. Love another one. I love these ones where you just take chaos and make it into this beautiful light effect.
Yeah, those are fun to do.
Is that another
It's
plein
hard,
air in
but
studio?
this one was studio, I think.
Okay.
This one's a little older, so
How do you collect your reference? Is it cell phone
I just
pictures? Do you carry around an
yeah.
SLR or a mirrorless
A lot of
camera?
it ends up being cell phone pictures lately. I do have a pretty nice camera, but I found just the convenience of having something like a phone on you at all times. You can just snap a quick
Right.
shot. And I think I'm trying to get better at interpreting reference more and using it almost more as a sketch in a sense
Yeah.
where it's just, you know, information you can take to make a painting, not just copying a photo. And because I think for the first few years, I saw a pretty big discrepancy in between what I painted from photo reference, what I painted from life. And now I'm trying to converge and
Yeah.
find what I truly want to bring out of the subject and focus on that.
Do you do anything? I know you're not really painting the picture. I get that. But it's still nice to have a good picture, right?
Yeah.
Do you do anything to your phone so that it doesn't shoot HDR? Because, you know, have you ever noticed when you're shooting a landscape with your phone, it's much more pretty than even the landscape.
Yeah.
It's like,
I think what I've realized, at least on my specific phone, which is a Pixel, Google Pixel, if I drop the brightness down and exposure way down, it kind of fixes the issue for me of the shadows being too light.
oh, okay.
So it kind of prioritizes the light and then it drops the shadows way down. So it has a more accurate structure to reality, but you can't really, phones will never do justice to how value and color and light look in real
No,
life.
they try to make it look even
Yeah.
more.
They make it look nice for Instagram,
Nicer.
but not nice
Exactly.
for reference. So
It's so frustrating. The reason I ask is I had someone tell me, and I probably should figure this out off the podcast, but that you can turn off all the HDR and all that.
yeah, I think there's some settings you can turn off
Yeah.
that'll help.
Yeah, that'd be nice. All right, let's go to your still life. Well, let me make sure there's nothing I absolutely have to see here. I want to look at that one real quick though. Speaking of a portrait of a tree,
Yeah.
yeah, that's beautiful. Plein air or
There's
studio?
some plainer. Yeah. There's some crazy trees out there.
Yeah.
And when you start noticing all the different features of trees, you just see them everywhere. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm sure in Colorado you've got the same thing because obviously Utah and Colorado has a lot of the same landscape. But man, we've got some gorgeous aspen forests in the canyons here.
Yeah.
It's remarkable.
I think you have the largest aspen organism, right, in Utah? Is that
I've heard that. I've heard
Yeah.
that. Yeah, in Provo, it's either Provo or American Fork Canyon or something. I can't remember where, but yeah, they're incredible. Man, oh man. That reminds me. That's the one that reminded me of Kwang Ho. Can you see
Yeah,
the
that one
influence?
I was messing around with just pushing texture.
Yeah.
There's another artist, I'm blinking on his name. I'll see if I can remember it as we talk, but he's been doing these amazing forest scenes and crazy texture. So I've been inspired by a lot of others.
Okay, Europe plein air. I want to look at this because, you know, again, to this drawing topic, that's hard to do right there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's some beautiful perspective done with so few lines.
Yeah, that was a painful experience painting
was.
the
I'm glad to hear
Santa
that.
Maria della Salute because it looks like a normal sized building from paintings and pictures if you don't have a human in there.
Yeah.
But kind of the base of the column, people are shorter than that.
Then
Way
the
shorter
block,
than
then the
that.
rectangular
Yeah,
bottom.
that first block. Because if you look on the
Really?
bottom right, that's a door.
Dude, you should have put a person in there.
I think I've done that in the past where I put little people, but this one I didn't get to because I ran out of time. But
Dang, that's
yeah,
awesome.
because it looks like it would be kind of simple to paint, but when you're there, you're like looking up, and it fills your entire field of
Yeah,
view.
and you have
So
to
it's
straighten all
very
the lines because they're going to
very
recede
tricky.
upwards, right?
Yeah, so you have to definitely crop in a lot if you want to avoid having that kind of fisheye
Yeah.
thing going on. I'd love to see what some of the artists who paint with a little bit of a fisheye. I'm blanking on the name. I think they're East Coast. There's a couple of painters that I think you've had them on your
I
podcast.
probably have.
Um,
I'm up to
but
like
they paint
160
where
now.
they
So.
just kind of keep looking and they don't really think of flattening out the
Oh,
perspective. And they,
yeah, like Peter Van Dyke.
yeah, Peter Van Dyke. That's what I was
Holy
thinking
crap,
of.
that dude's
Yeah.
brilliant. You want to talk
I'd
about
love to see what
perspective?
he would do with some of these huge
Yeah,
buildings. Yeah.
he's unbelievable. I've got 2 of his paintings,
Oh, he's
and
amazing.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, I freaking love them. They're so beautiful. Yeah, I don't know. He has an uncanny sense of perspective or understanding of
Yeah.
perspective. But so do you, though. I mean, that's a that's very economical use of paint for a very complex subject. Right down to
Yeah.
the sculptures. Like this is insane. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
There's nothing
It's
there.
fun to sometimes just see how much you can get away with.
Dude,
It's like
you got away
you'd
with
be
a lot.
surprised. Sometimes you can leave things so simple and abstract and it works in the painting. Sometimes it doesn't work, but it's fun. It's almost like a magic trick if you pull it off.
Is there anything about color that you can tell us about? My guess is that these shadows aren't this blue.
Some of them may have been, but I think sometimes I exaggerate color relationships or simplify them
Yeah.
just for legibility or readability
Yeah.
and clarity. So really focusing on warm, cool, plane changes can help a ton when painting lighter buildings like this because you get so much reflected light bouncing around.
Yeah. It's just beautiful the way you've done that. Just gorgeous.
Yeah, and I think this was probably the 10th time I painted that building on that trip because I had a bad knee injury. So Patrick got me like a little stool to paint, and I'd kind of hobble over to the water bus, and it would drop us right off at the base of this church. So I'd just sit down and paint and kind of go back and forth. So
That's
I painted
awesome.
it a lot.
So about how long did it take you to paint this?
That was probably like hour and a half.
Oh, you're fast, dude. Holy moly, that's amazing. What size is this one here?
That's a 9 by 12.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great. That one's probably sold as well.
Yeah,
Probably everything you have on your website sold, I'm assuming.
pretty close to it, but
That's awesome. Congrats on that.
yeah, thanks.
Yeah, these building ones. Oh, look at that one. That is great. There's not that much paint on there. Whoops.
Yeah,
Lost it.
some of them are a little thinner, but
Look at that. Yeah, talk about simple. Jeez Louise.
yeah, some of these are just kind of in the moment where you just see something that catches your eye and you really don't have much time, so you have to get it done in under an hour sometimes.
Wow. If you don't mind, I'm just going to flip through some of these because
Yeah,
wow, look at that one. That's so timeless. It could have been painted 300 years ago. Man,
Thank you.
you're in Europe. This is in Europe, I'm assuming.
yeah, a lot of Italy.
Europe is the architecture there is just something else.
Yeah, I think the thing I love most about it, even like the architecture is amazing, but also the texture and how it's well worn and there's so much character to every corner. Because a lot of cities here, they just don't quite have. Well, I guess that might be debatable because it's just preference on subject matter. But
I'm with you though. I love old
Yeah.
things. Old things.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if they're made with beautiful materials that wear well.
yeah,
And there's something about classical architecture that unfortunately I like modern architecture as well, but it doesn't wear that well.
yeah.
Something about classical architecture that wears really well.
Do you know Peter Brown? I just thought of him. I
The
think he
name
goes
sounds
by
familiar, but it might be because
Pete
it's the
the
most
Street
common name in the world.
on
Oh, Pete the
Instagram.
Street. Yeah, he's one of my guests.
Yeah, he paints skyscrapers and makes it look just amazing though. So,
Yeah,
that's one thing I was thinking. I was
I
like,
know.
well, some people love certain subject matter. So,
Yeah, I mean, and what I've learned from people like him and yourself is that it really does just come down to composition more than subject matter.
yeah. hmm
It really does. Composition,
Yeah.
I don't quite understand what it is about the human brain that can be stimulated by an arrangement of shapes, values, and colors.
Yeah.
Why is that?
It's amazing. I don't
It's
know.
so
I wish I
strange.
knew the answer to
It's
it,
so
but
strange. Like,
it's a
why do we
mystery
care?
to me
It's
as
not
well. Yeah.
food. It's not oxygen. It's
Yeah.
not shelter. It's
There's
just an
almost like
arrangement.
just an appeal to it that's timeless, I guess.
I
That
don't know. It's
it's
weird.
just part of our brains. the
Same
way
thing
we're
with
wired.
music. Why? Why do we care
Yeah.
about music? How does
I know.
it's odd, but yet it moves us almost
Yeah.
sometimes to tears.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Man, do I have good news for all of you guys. We are now being sponsored by Winsor Newton. That's right, Winsor Newton, the Winsor Newton. You're probably asking yourselves, how is this good for us? I'll tell you why it's good for you, because you freaking love this podcast. And if it's good for me as the host, it's good for you because I can keep bringing you more and more episodes with their generous funding. So you're welcome from them and from me. So if you haven't heard of Winsor Newton, you're kind of living under a rock because they've been around forever. Let me show you something. You see these two old farts right here? They founded Winsor Newton back in 1832. That's like 50 years younger than the United States of America. Now, I realize for all of you Asians and Europeans and Africans and so on, that's nothing to you guys. But to us, that's freaking old. That's a long time, almost 200 years. Now, if a company that sells art supplies has been doing it for almost 200 years, you'd think they know what they're doing, and they do. And I know they do because my entire studio is full of Winsor Newton art supplies, from ink to papers to charcoal to pencils to mediums, everything. And recently, one of my guests highly recommended their watercolors, and I'm hoping to start watercolors soon. And of course, I'm going to go to them. And you should go to them too, because they're offering a 10% discount code, Undraped Artist Pod. Undraped Artist Pod. You type that in, you'll get 10% off anything you order off their website, windsornewton.com. Send them a message that you love this podcast and that we're worth investing in by using this discount code and ordering with it. Undraped Artist Pod at windsornewton.com. Go buy some art supplies. Discount code only good for 30 days from the time of this ad.
That's interesting. A lot of music, I found that I almost have a more emotional reaction to music and classical music than necessarily painting.
I think
Which
most people
I've
do.
talked to some, yeah. I guess it's just a different part of the brain, maybe the way we're wired.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
No, I've thought the same thing, and sometimes I think that as a visual artist, we definitely have or I should say, artists of music have an upper hand in controlling human emotion. Like we have some ability to control human emotion, but musicians, it's like next level,
Yeah,
I think.
definitely.
I'm not sure what it is, but man, yeah, these are something else. If there's one that you absolutely love that you want to look at, that would be, just let me know. Is this the same place you painted earlier?
Yep. Yeah, I was just cropped in a little bit more.
Man, that's great. Let's see. Is this Venice?
I think, yeah, Venice. That one I really loved. And then there's also this one that was really fun of a gondola that I did. I think it was a 5x7 below it.
Okay, before we get to the
But
gondola though, this is
yeah,
freaking sick. Where
yeah,
is
that
this?
was
Like
the
Switzerland or something?
Dolomites. The Dolomites in Italy,
Ah,
northern Italy. Yeah.
man, and this too. Wait, were you with Kyle when you painted this?
Yeah, I was with Kyle and Patrick. We all painted.
Yeah,
We were
I
all
saw
standing right
these.
next to each other, the three
Really?
of us. Yeah, we all painted.
God, when you have a
Same.
subject like this, it's hard to lose.
I know.
Jeez, man, that is freaking amazing. Are these the Alps or something? What are they?
Yeah, it's the Alp. It's the same range that just goes down into Italy.
Jeez, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so the gondola right here.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing those. These were 5x7 panels that I brought. I brought 30 of them, and I tried to do one a day. So I ended up with 30 paintings additional to what I normally did because I was trying to push myself to see if I could do that many paintings in a trip.
Yeah.
And it was really fun because these little paintings, there's a lot less pressure and expectations when you're working on something that feels more like a fun sketch or just capturing a little vignette. And I was really inspired by Soroya's color sketches for a lot of these.
I gotta look those
And
up.
just, yeah, you should definitely. Those are just
Wait, let's just look them up right
mind-blowing.
now, real quick.
Yeah,
Soraya's color sketches. All right. Jeez, those are simple.
yeah. But they're just these beautiful little vignettes where he would just paint his family or just
In his
some,
arm like that.
yeah, this little cigar box, pochade box, I think that he had. And yeah, he would just, they are so amazing.
They dressed
They're so full of
so
life.
fancy back then for
Yeah.
painting. You know, I mean, I would have ruined so many suit coats.
Have you had the chance to see the Soraya house?
No, someday
Oh,
maybe.
yeah, someday. It's pretty spectacular.
Is it in Spain?
Yeah, it's in Madrid. It's where he lived, and they just hang all the work in his home and studio space.
Okay, yeah, I see why that's a big influence. These are amazing.
Yeah.
They are so simple though.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not there's genius in the simplicity. Whoa, look at that. Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, and you can click on each of them. Jeez, man, this is good info. I'm gonna save this website.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. All right, let's get back to you though.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I could just nerd out on
I
Soraya all
know,
day.
right? Seriously. Okay, so let's go back to your website. Make sure I didn't miss anything that I want to see. Let's go to another category here real quick. I notice you have done some portrait. No, I don't see anything here though.
Yeah, I think on the homepage slider there's one. I don't
I remember for a
quite get
period you were
to.
doing that funny camera where it looks down your nose.
Yeah.
That was so
Yeah.
funny. That
That
thing was
was fun. It
weird.
was like 360.
Yeah.
That top slider, there's a portrait I did of my girlfriend Marissa. I think if you click through, it's maybe like 7 images down. Yeah, there it
Oh,
is.
that's beautiful, man.
I don't have it here. It's actually in Maryland because she's from Maryland. But
Long distance relationship?
yeah,
Oh, that's rough,
we
man.
met at Portrait Society.
You
so that was
did?
pretty fun.
That's
Yeah,
great. Isn't that where Kwong met Adrian?
yeah,
It's a love fest over there. That's cool. Congrats.
yeah. I think
Yeah, that was a beautiful portrait. That sort of had a Scott Burdick vibe to it.
yeah. I was definitely inspired by Scott Burdick, Klimt,
Yeah,
a
it's
lot
beautiful.
Thayer, a lot of those artists.
All right, so we've looked at your still life, correct? And then Thailand, we've looked at plein air. Let's look at Thailand here.
Yeah.
So have you traveled quite a bit to paint?
I've started traveling more and more lately. I think initially a big boost to that was I got the Donald Journey Traveling Fellowship, which is
Wow, that's
an
cool.
artist. Do you know Donald Journey?
I do. He's on my list.
He sponsors. He basically just pays young artists to travel the world or go to Europe
Good.
and
That's so
paint.
cool.
So I somehow won that. I don't know how I
'Cause
was
you're a
like
great
I knew
painter, that's how
I
you
knew
won it.
like hundreds of people that submitted and some of the best like insane landscape painter and I like when I found out I got it I was like what? I don't know why they picked me but I was so honored to get it and that made a huge impact just traveling and seeing the world.
That's really cool that he
Yeah.
does that. Yeah, I've tried to get him on the podcast. He hasn't said no, but he's so busy.
Yeah.
It's been tough.
Yeah, I'm sure he's super busy.
Yeah.
But my girlfriend is half Thai, so I traveled to Thailand with her, and we kind of stay with her family and just painting at some of the different Watts. So
That's
it was
awesome.
pretty.
So she's a painter too, then.
Yeah, she's a
Obviously.
portrait painter. Yeah,
That's great. There's so many painter couples out there. I often wonder what it's like to be with someone who's an artist. I imagine it could there would be definitely pros, but also some complexity.
yeah. I think trying to manage, especially like critique stuff,
Yeah. They could break your soul
Because
in a
sometimes
heartbeat.
you're just not in the, like, sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready to show you this painting because I don't know if I can, since I know you're also an artist, you know, just that.
Yeah.
But it's also just amazing to be able to experience the world together with someone
Yeah,
who
that'd be
also
cool.
has that same visual interest.
Yeah, my wife she can break me. I just finished a
Yeah.
portrait. It's actually behind me right there. I just finished that. And
Yeah.
my wife came in and is like, "What's with the hand?" And I'm like,
Oh, that's painful.
and then but at least I can go, well, she doesn't know anything. She's not an artist. But it's still, I don't actually feel that way. But I try to
Yeah.
just, it makes it hurt a little bit less. Yeah, these are remarkable, man. God, these are so beautiful. Is there a favorite that you painted?
I think the upper left or the wood dragon one were probably
dragon
my
one,
two
right here?
favorites. Yeah.
What is it about it? Was it the process or the finished work?
I think it's the finished work. It
Yeah, it's cool.
it was just a really fun morning. Like I just was walking around, saw that, and it was just such a cool shape design to the sculpture. So, yeah. It's really fun to paint different cultural designs, I guess, because with European stuff, you have everything kind of has a similar look because it's all drawn from the same source. But
Right.
going to Thailand, it was just a completely different visual language
Oh, yeah.
that they use. And it was a really fun experience to get a taste of both worlds.
This is interesting architecture, though, because it seems to have some Western features to it.
Yeah, I'm sure at some point there's been some cross-pollination between some of these
Yeah.
architectural designs.
What a beautiful country, though, man. All these,
Yeah.
this is great stuff. I think my favorite, I've got several favorites, but geez, look at this one. That's a lot to manage right there.
Yeah.
That is really cool. I love this one.
Yeah, that one was really fun.
The atmosphere in it is so beautiful. And then, I mean, I love them all. I think this reminds me of, I'm trying to think of what it is, but it reminds me of Sargent, and I'm not sure which painting it is.
Yeah, there's this one sergeant. I don't know if it's the same one you're thinking of, but there's this one sergeant of a temple with like some columns that I've always been a huge fan of.
Maybe that's what I'm
And
thinking of.
yeah,
But the way you painted it is very Sargent-esque too. I mean, if you told me Sargent painted this, I'd believe you.
oh, I don't know.
I
I'm not
would,
sure
dude.
about that.
I would. I'd believe it. I'd believe it. It's that beautiful, man.
Thank you.
That's really nice. This one is another one of my favorites. What an interesting sculpture.
I'll have to show you. I actually I was looking to decorate some corner of my studio, so I 3D printed one of these food
And you
like
faux
the
finished
temple
it?
dogs. And then I finished it with some like copper paint that oxidized. So that was pretty
What?
fun.
That's actually copper paint that oxidized? I didn't
Yeah.
even know that existed. That's
I
sick.
know. There's a lot of crazy fun things to
Do you have to
do.
do anything to make it oxidize? Like,
You spray an activator on it and it starts kind
no
of aging
way.
it
That's
through
sick.
nicotine. Yeah.
That's awesome. This one's also a great one. But the mood in this, you had to paint this one fast.
Yeah, I think that was hour and a half probably.
Yeah. So what do you do as a plein air painter, at least partially? Obviously, you're a studio painter as well. But
Yeah.
let's take something like this. The light moves really fast in something like this. How
Yeah.
much are you painting from memory when you're on location, and how much are you painting from pure observation? And how much are you
I
editing?
think editing a ton. Yeah,
Like,
definitely editing
like
a
in
ton.
what
'Cause
ways?
I think shape design, things that have less importance, you can simplify and group together, like the trees in the background. Though in reality, there's probably a lot more complexity to it. And if I had more time, I could probably flesh that out a little bit. But I think editing a ton and really prioritizing getting some drawing in and little marks in for fast moving shadows. And it's
Yeah.
something you kind of build an intuition almost. Like you start checking where the sun is, you kind of have an idea of where the sun will go. and
Oh,
you can
really?
prioritize fast moving shadows, getting those first, and then there's certain areas where will be in full sunlight the entire time, so you can get to that later. And if you can't completely get to an area, even just putting some color notes down or maybe a boundary so you kind of know the shape design of an area is really helpful.
Yeah, that's good insight. I appreciate that. Okay, well, let's go really quick to your Instagram so we can see some of the paintings in location. I love these shots.
Yeah.
So tell me about your brush. I know brushes don't make paintings, but they do
Yeah.
change the quality of a painting.
Hmm.
Tell me about your
Yeah, I
brush
think
choices and order of operations a little bit.
I experiment a lot.
Do you?
So I guess from time to time I might be using a completely different type of brush. I've been having a lot of fun lately with rounds because that's something for the longest
Synthetic
time I
or
didn't.
bristle or what?
Synthetic, yeah, synthetic usually.
Okay.
I'll occasionally use some bristle brushes, but there's so many fun brush shapes out there. Like there's this one sword brush or dagger brush that I've used sometimes, and a lot of the Thailand work to get some of those like very sharp, ornate marks and abstraction. Loading up one of those like dagger brushes with thinner paint and kind of getting very calligraphic marks. It can get some really cool shapes.
I don't have a dagger brush. I'll have to give that a try.
Yeah.
I thought I've tried
Yeah,
everything. Yeah. Obviously, like I said, I know it's not going to make my painting, but
yeah.
there's a lot more to it. And when I look at this
Hmm.
with the pink, I was just in June, I went to the Musée d'Orsay
Okay, yeah.
and saw the Monets is it Monet? Or, I guess it would be Monet. Yeah, it was Monet,
Yeah, Monet.
where he's got I can't remember what it is, some cathedral or something
Oh yeah, the cathedral.
that's
Yeah,
painted in like
the
five
ruin.
different lightings.
Is it the Rune Cathedral or
I don't
something
know.
cathedral?
Yeah,
I
but you
looked
know
it
the
up
ones I'm
and
talking about, right?
yeah, they have a few at the National Gallery, but then I also looked it up and apparently he painted it almost at least 20 times because there's some image collages
Really?
where he painted the same cathedral in almost every type of light imaginable. And it's just, yeah, that was pretty amazing.
It was, but I was actually going to say the opposite. I like what you're doing. I like the level that you're bringing it to a little bit more. When I saw those in person, I was like, I don't know. I mean, it's just not my
Yeah.
taste.
Yeah.
But you're doing these studies of this building in different lighting, and it's just enough realism for my personal taste. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just really seems truer to natural light.
Hmm.
I really like that. All right, let's see. Oh, that's the same one we already watched.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, here's one of my favorites. So we'll watch you do this real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, Instagram is like a love-hate relationship for me because sometimes I wish I could just be in the moment and paint and not record or take
Yeah.
photos of it, but it's like part of the whole advertising machine at this point. So it's just
I'm glad
I'm
you brought
holding
that
my
up.
phone I'm holding my phone like this and painting, and I'm sure
But you
people
only
are
have to
like,
do it
"What
like
are
5 or 6
you doing?"
times, right?
Yeah. Well, sometimes I think I end up recording too much footage all the time just in case, but
Yeah,
you
that
can
seems
kind of
tedious.
get in a rhythm where just a few brushstrokes to record, so it makes it a little easier for the process.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've often thought about doing the whole Instagram thing, and what I mean by is what you're doing. You're
Yeah.
right. I just can't bring myself. I get too into the painting and I just forget. I can't even
Yeah.
bring myself to do it. So, kudos to you for having the
Yeah.
discipline. That's hard to
Yeah.
do.
You should see Patrick when he's filming his Patreon
Yeah.
videos. He brings 4 or 5 cameras with him and sets up like a little mobile studio with all these camera angles. And
Wow.
he's out there painting by himself, doing it crazy.
That outside he does that.
Yeah.
That's why. Now he takes it real seriously. That's amazing.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, I want to look at this one last one because this is remarkable, and then we'll wrap up here in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're working with relatively small brushes the whole time, or?
I think it's a combination. Sometimes I'll mass in with a larger brush, but I think I just grab whatever I have handy. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's whatever brush is clean sometimes is the reason why I pick one.
So when you approach a painting like these,
Yeah.
are you really taking painstaking efforts to get the right value, temperature, hue, and chroma the first time? Or do you put paint down with the intent of, pushing and pulling it into submission?
I think I'm pushing and pulling definitely because I try and get in the ballpark range of color and value, but realistically, I'm not going to hit it on my first attempt. So usually it's getting something close enough and then pushing it and pulling it.
Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause that's what I do, and I've often wondered what people like
Yeah.
yourself
Takes a lot of the pressure off trying to get everything right on the first try if you you can make some mistakes and
plus you don't
adjust
have
it.
context. You lay down the background mountains.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's compared to what, right?
Yeah.
You can't compare it to the mountains. You have to compare it to everything
Yeah.
you're painting. Well, dude, this has been a blast.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been so much fun. So I got to ask you one final question before we wrap up. Since you've heard the podcast, you probably know what it is. But what is one piece of advice that you've had or wish you had that you could share with aspiring artists who are watching?
One piece of advice.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's
Yeah,
tricky.
it
I
is.
think one thing that comes to mind is the idea that it's a marathon, not a sprint, and finding ways to make it sustainable and enjoyable. And I think one thing I've been really focusing on is trying to be less hard on myself, because oftentimes you can really get in that critical mindset, self-critical, which is really helpful at the beginning when you're growing a lot.
Yeah.
But as you keep going, I think it's important to maintain a healthy relationship with art and just kind of maintain that curiosity and childlike wonder with what you're doing.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again for coming, Jared. It's great
Yeah,
to see
thank
you
you.
again.
It's a huge honor to be here, and
I appreciate
yeah,
that.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, and maybe if I don't see you this year, I'll see you one of these years at the
Yeah.
Porch Society again. So,
Yeah, definitely.
all right, have a great day.
All right, thanks.
Thanks for tuning in to the Undraped Artist Podcast. If you enjoyed it, subscribe. And if you could, leave a comment or review. That really helps the channel. Please share the show with your friends, and if you're feeling generous, consider a monthly donation at theundrapedartist.com. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next week.